last thing I want to talk about is you got to hit the spiritual part of the player. Come on, coach. Are you religious? Has nothing to do with religion. Has to do with relationships, because I want every player to play with peace, passion, purpose, positivity. Don't you? Okay, then you got to get into their soul, man. You got to really get into their spirit. And here's how to do this. Who's the enemy? Depression, but basically stress, pressure, and anxiety. All kids are dealing with that. My wife's the junior college coach. I'm telling you, man, these kids are dealing with that, man. Hell, adults are dealing with that. By 2021 in the United States, depression will be the second leading disease in the United States beside heart disease. And we're not going to address it as coaches, right? These kids love sports. Like a coach can do things that a teacher, a pastor, a parent sometimes can't do because it's a game. Sports changes lives. So let's start having a platform for something like this to help kids so they go on and live a great life. I know this, 2 players that I've trained in the last 2 years have committed suicide, and that's just what I know of. And 3 coaches I've mentored in the last 3 years, 1 per year, has committed suicide. So this is real for me. Strategic intentional therapy. I call it SIT. If you don't sit and train your head, you could be dead. Our brain has 2 functions: to imagine and remember. If it's not imagining a positive future or remembering the passionate why to their journey, then they're in trouble. And so they got to sit, right? Have meditation, be intentional. You know, what do I do? What do I reflect on? How do I reflect? Do I have a notebook to write things down? Like, sit down, have these kids just get some quiet time, no phone, no technology, on the beach, in their room, and just reflect. Negative feelings, like, let go. Positive feelings, meditate on. Write things down. Write how you feel. But this is just, I'm not a psychologist, but this is just all counseling technology, behavior modification techniques that I know Phil Jackson did with a few players that I trained for with the Lakers. It's called self-awareness. It's always having a good skill to have, ability to have total presence and honest with yourself. You step outside of yourself. You look at the mirror of yourself. And almost done here. What's working? Write down what's not working. This is for you as a coach. How am I managing my mental thoughts? What am I listening to? Everything we talked about. Here's some core values for my wife and I. That's my family right there. We live 500 yards from the beach. We go to a church called Rock Harbor. But, you know, as a coach, I'm really watching inequality and racism. I'm trying to have inclusion, love in my workouts, faith, right? Body language, words, actions, everything but fear. Gratefulness, not spoiledness. So I'm trying to catch spoiledness, entitlement. Like, I'm trying to fight that. It might be with parents. It might be with kids. It might be with coaches. It might be myself. Passion, energy. Like, these are the things, my non-negotiables in my spirit that I'm trying to fight, right? I'm trying to help kids fight. Forgiveness, empathy, grace, not hate, right? All that stuff, man, is important. They make champions, and they allow peacefulness and purposefulness and positivity in your spirit. Solutions with dealing with depressed players. Sit down and talk with them in a private setting. Listen, don't lecture. Be graceful but persistent on how they feel and the reasons. Acknowledgement of their feelings. Trust your gut. If they ignore all that, oh, coach, I'm fine. Maybe they need some professional help, right? Solutions for dealing with depressed players. Encourage them. Get around good people, who they love, who loves them. Isolation is poisonous. Good way to help them is become happy, to make somebody else happy. Get them to volunteer. Best way they want to be happy is to get them helping others. That's huge. Improve their diet, hydration, sleep, exercise. To me, this is the most important, all right? This keeps their heart light, right? Keeps their heart light most of the time. Don't be afraid to seek professional help. Don't hesitate from a mental health professional with advanced training. Maybe refer them to the parents to them. And then don't forget to keep your superpowers as a coach, right? You'll spend most of your day helping, sewing, building into others. But how do you keep your energy up? How do you keep your mind and heart guarded? Like, we're Superman, right? Superwoman, but we do bleed. We do have kryptonite. So how are it holistically, physically, mentally, right? Emotionally, spiritually, how are you keeping yourself strong? Do you work out? How's your food intake? Is it healthy? Sleep? Is your hydration superior? Do you get alone time, solitude time, right? Even Superman and Superwoman flew by themselves, right? But you got to get away and reflect and let go of the stress. I can honestly say, man, I do that. And the stress of being an entrepreneur, the stress of trying to run a business and a family during this COVID crisis, it hasn't affected my stress, because when I felt stressed, I go and do this stuff, man. It works. It works. And that's my presentation for tonight. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff.
Ganon, that was phenomenal. And we have a couple questions coming out.
Outstanding.
And the questions have a common trend. And the trend is trying to get you in their shoes and in their context. But the first question that I really want to ask you, that I want to emphasize to the coaches, is that it's clear you have a lot of experience and you've grown through those years. And I just want you to talk about how you've come to these solutions about these little things, and how reflection really played a big part in you learning, in your learning.
Well, for me, you know, all these solutions that I talked about, I use them in my workouts. I've used them with the teams that I've trained. I've used them in the relationships with the players that I've trained. And so for me, I want praise reports. So if they're working, I want the parents and the players to say, hey, this really works. So I interview all the players and teams after I've finished working them out. And so if it's been a week, right, I follow up with them a year later. Hey, what worked, what didn't work? Jared, here's the evolution of it. I'm getting praise reports now from players and teams that I did 10 years ago. Hey, Ganon, you came to my country. You worked us out for 2 weeks. Part of the junior national program. You worked us out every day. You said this, you did this. I didn't understand it then, but now you're so right. And now as a coach, I'm using those same strategies. So that's the reflection. I never speak on anything that I don't know, nor speak on anything that doesn't work. Repetition is the mother of success, and greatness is consistency. So I've been able to start training kids when I was 18, and now I'm 48. So I got 30 years of, right, practical evidence and proof of concept. Here's the other thing I do. When I'm training LeBron, I'll grill him on his head coach. I'll grill him on, hey, what's it like playing for Spo? I'm able to interview Eric Spoelstra and ask him, how do you handle fear? How do you handle? I'm able to go down the street to a very successful local high school coach and say, hey, how did you won 20 district championships? How did you do it? And a lot of times I'll get, man, we had great players. Well, that's not you got to have great players. Yeah, but how do you develop talent? Everything that I've talked about in the last 2 PowerPoints has been real solutions that coaches from every level all over the world has used. And my suggestion is, again, try stuff out for a year. And if it doesn't work, let me know. Let me know. Let me know what doesn't work. Because I'm just saying, like me, I don't have wins and losses under my resume. But again, I'm not a head team coach. I'm a player development coach. My job is to bring out the best and the player's holistic toolbox, physical, mental, emotional. And so all these work, man. And it's not just the NBA. I've spent a lot of time with successful and high school players. And these high school players tell me, Coach, love this, love this, love this. What he didn't love, all right, if a lot of people, if it's a trend, then I don't use that as a solution. But as a coach, you have the web. Like these players want to be great. You got the keys. Keep your energy up. Love on them. Keep your competency. Figure out conflict resolutions. If you do that, stick with it. Like I've coached for 30 years. I didn't quit because it was tough, or I stuck with it. And it's hard for me because I'm trying to get kids to work out and pay me money, and they don't want to work out for free. I'm yelling at kids and getting on them, and they might not come back and pay me next week. So for me to do it as an entrepreneur and still have some hard behavior modification techniques to do as a coach, to me, it's a miracle. Like this stuff, I live and die by. But I appreciate the question, and I get the question. But that's how I reflect. If this didn't work, I wouldn't be in business, Jared. You see me doing something else.
Yeah, fantastic.
This stuff works.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, Ganon. Thanks for that, Coach. One more question, and then the remaining questions I'll shoot to you through email, and then we can respond to them later. What would
I got about 10 minutes, man. I can stay on 10 minutes if they want.
What would be your recommendation for a 15-year-old to start coaching?
A 15-year-old kid wants to start coaching?
Correct.
Well, again, my answer is, why aren't you playing? I mean, you're 15, go play. Because to me, the more you can play, that's a great testing platform to learn how to coach. However, you're 15 and you want to coach, find the most reputable development coach in your city, whether it's a middle school, 12 and under, 30, whatever, right? And then just be a fly on the wall and constantly build up your coaching development tools. So learn how to teach from a player development standpoint. And once you get that, then start learning how to teach from a game standpoint, strategy, adjustments, situations, special situations, personnel. He needs to join my mentorship. Tell him to join my free mentorship. And we talk about this stuff every Thursday. So hit the link when he gets the letter and join my mentorship. But man, the dude, he's 15, man. Go play ball, man. And then coach.